Hey, welcome back to 1980s. Normally a weekly examination of the importance of 1980s pop culture and its influence today. My name is Will, and joining me today for our very special discussion on this breaking news story is my good pal and expert with regard to everything Prince, Marcus Taylor. How you doing, Marcus?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good. Now, hey, look, as soon as I heard this news story, and not to bury the lead here, but I'll just read you the headline from the New York Times. Prince's Purple Rain is being developed as a stage musical. As soon as I saw that, I definitely wanted to know what your thoughts were.
Mm.
As folks don't know, it's actually the 40th anniversary of Purple Rain, the film. And anybody who's ever listened to our show knows that I'm not a huge fan of the movie. So I'm a huge fan of the album that it birthed.
Mhm.
But so when I heard about it becoming a Broadway musical, I thought, yeah, I can't just shit
Mm.
all over it for 10 minutes. I got to get a guy who's actually a big fan of Prince's and possibly the movie. I guess
Oh,
starting off there, are you a fan of the film?
well, the thing is, yes, I am. I
Okay.
am. But it's not a good movie. It's
Okay.
it's a good like B movie, right?
Mhm.
It's it's kind of like porn, right? It's
Okay.
it's just it's you're not
Oh.
there for the whole thing. You're there for particular performances, right?
So it would be the equivalent of me fast forwarding to the songs.
There you
Like, I
go. You
just get to
fast
the
forward the
song.
songs to
I don't
get to
need the
what you're.
plot.
That's right. You're not necessarily there for the dialogue between the
Right.
songs,
Right.
and so they really are going to have to adapt this
Mm.
for a couple reasons. I think it says in the article they're doing an adaptation, and they're really going to have to because uh, you know uh, sensibilities have changed.
Yeah.
Prince is dead. um, there are just some things you're not going to get away with that they did, and really, I mean, a lot of musicals are built to go from song to song, song to song.
Sure.
That's what they're built for, and if they do it that way, that's great. If they try to use the underlying story, beat for beat, they're going to have a tough time. They're going to have a tough
Yeah.
time.
Now, I
Uh,
remember we were talking about this before we started recording here that the folks, most of the folks in the movie play themselves or a version of it
yeah.
themselves. And you've got, Morris Day and the Time, you've got Apollonia, but that wasn't true of Prince, was it?
No, Prince played a character called the Kid, and he was a little ass.
Yeah.
He was not a very good guy. And I think, there wasn't really this redemptive arc of the hero like you think
Mm,
in like the 80s movies where, this guy, he's got things wrong with him and he overcomes them. That's not really even what happens with the hero here.
mm.
The hero here kind of realizes at some point, I too have hit this girl that I have told that I
Ugh,
love,
yeah.
and I too might get so miserable about that I kill myself.
Mm,
And so
mm,
and so that's the extent of his redemption, right?
yeah.
I was talking to a buddy the other day, and really, if you really think about it, the
Yeah.
hero of that movie is Morris.
Mm, okay.
And it really, if you take out all of the parts where you are doing the actual singing on stage and just played those together, much more sympathetic character is Morris.
Wow. Okay.
And it kind of like the debate they have about whether or not Daniel was the bad guy in Karate
Right.
Kid, right?
Right.
I kind of feel this way a little bit. The kid was not great, right?
Wow. That's
And
interesting.
and everybody else, it's
Yeah.
kind of funny. Prince, he had leverage with the music companies. That's how he got to be able to produce and arrange and handle all of his music top to bottom.
Right.
And then he decided he wanted to do this movie thing, and nobody really wanted to do it with him. So, his manager helped uh, co-write the screenplay.
Oh,
They didn't even have real screenwriters, right?
that
This
explains
is
it.
always going to be a bad movie. He surrounded
Mhm.
himself with his friends, and his the people that were playing in his satellite groups. And Morris played a exaggerated version of Morris, and Jerome played a version of Jerome, and Apollonia basically filled in for right before the movie. Vanity, who was Prince's
Oh,
girlfriend at the
right.
time,
Mhm.
she decided to go do The Last Dragon, I think it was. He got his feelings hurt, and the group went from being the Vanity Six to Apollonia Six. So he just picked another girlfriend,
Right.
and so it's just kind of how it was. But yeah, Prince didn't play Prince. He was never called Prince in the movie. He was called the Kid. And one thing they got to be careful of is, the Kid wasn't a very nice guy, and you
Right.
don't want, you know, Prince to keep up the mystique or whatever. Never straight out said this was or wasn't an autobiography, right? He kind
Mhm.
of left it to everybody's imagination. Now that he's gone and he can't defend himself, you probably want to be real clear as you're doing this. This can't be, specifically if they make it a beat for beat thing. We don't want people to think this was what Prince was really like. Prince
Yeah.
was a little controlling dude who was hard to deal with, but
Right.
nobody said he was beating women
Yeah.
and some of the other things. He's just he left that he let that simmer because he was trying to be mysterious, I guess.
Right.
And that's a bad deal now that somebody retroactively now is going to do a some version of that screenplay where it was never made clear, black and white clear, that's
Yeah.
not his life. He's just surrounded by people that look like him.
You make me realize then, because I know we were talking about how it would be difficult maybe to make a biopic of Prince these days,
Right.
one that was akin to the Queen one and the Elton John one. Because Prince is so iconic, it would be distracting to see another actor. And we've seen this before, not
Right.
necessarily with musicians, but other actors are cast to play. There was a Mike Tyson biography recently, and there was another one that's just I can't get my. But
The
it's
new
kind of
Elvis one, the Priscilla one, oh,
right.
it's
Hmm.
takes you right out of it.
Yeah, but maybe because it's the Kid and not Prince, you get more wiggle room as far as how close the actor cast looks like Prince.
Yeah, you well,
Maybe.
so and they're for I don't know what the word is for making it more Broadway, more show tune-ish, I guess.
Yeah.
But Prince for 40 years before he died gave many performances of these songs that weren't note for note recreations in
Hmm,
all
okay.
kinds of concerts. So there's even a blueprint for how you might otherwise arrange these songs.
And
So Prince gave that to the world, and maybe they'll use it, right? But for sure, the character itself, he was playing a character called the Kid. It doesn't have to. It never had to be Prince.
right. Well, we think
And
about
certainly, if you're not trying to do a one for one, beat for beat remake of any of the songs, and
yeah.
you are going to, uh, I don't what's the word for show tune them up or whatever,
That's
uh,
it.
The Broadwayification. I don't know what the word is, but
Yes.
yeah, whatever you're gonna do, if you're going to otherwise arrange them, it doesn't have to be Prince, and it doesn't have to be specifically Morris, or you don't have to find clones.
Yeah.
They're all playing parts, and they can play their parts. And I think there's very little bit of the dialogue or the high level story that you would necessarily want to keep
Yeah.
to get to the beats of the songs. I don't think.
On a recent and I know you know this, on a recent episode of our show, we talked about, some of the other '80s Broadway musicals that are coming.
Mhm.
The Outsiders, in particular, The Karate Kid is another one. There's right now a Broadway musical that's just using the catalog of Huey Lewis to create a rom-com, it's described as, story on stage, and I think it was even you had suggested, let's use, Prince's catalog, we could probably carve
Right.
something out of there. So, maybe they could just maybe Purple Rain, the soundtrack creates a whole other story, and we could be a little more flexible and not so, beholden to the original film and create something really super fantastic. I think that gives me hope knowing how a lot of these shows are developed that maybe that would be the case and
Yeah.
we'd get something better than the movie.
Yeah, but the movie's tough to watch now,
Yeah.
right? It's
Mhm.
tough to get through the beats. Some of them are. I mean, I not to harp on it, but like the Morris stuff is funny. But if
Mhm.
Prince isn't singing, he's not fun to watch.
Yeah, he's a downer.
You know? It's everybody and Morris's stuff only worked because Morris was, I don't know, he's joking around and that he's
Yeah,
good
he's a
for that,
character. Yeah.
right? That's he likes that character and he plays it well,
Yeah, and
right?
in real life, he seems not all that different. Kind of a
That's right. He was
fun
playing
little.
he was definitely playing an exaggerated version of himself, and honestly, I think probably in the big scheme of things, more an exaggerated version of Morris is much more likable than an exaggerated
Mhm.
version of Prince, and that's just how it was.
I think I'm surprised to see as I look the box office. It made $70 million off of a $7 million budget. I'm not
Mhm.
surprised it cost only $7 million to make it. That's clear. And most of it probably went to that Batgirl motorcycle that he drives, which
Yeah,
that's why I love that fantastic
that's
looking bike.
not nice.
But but uh, most people that I know that are fans of it, it's because of the songs. And ultimately, of
Mhm,
course, we got that soundtrack, which maybe even came out. I think it came out a little bit before the movie was released in time.
mhm.
Are most of those songs, if not all of them, actually in the movie?
Let's see. If you go down them, "Let's Go Crazy" starts the movie, best way to start a movie ever. I mean,
Mm,
it's got that, sermon at the beginning. "Take Me With You's" on there. Yeah, I think they're all
okay.
there. Everything's there, and they all serve a purpose. Like, um, what is it? "When Doves Cry." "When Doves Cry" was not originally in the movie. What happened was they were editing the movie. They had that montage that they show of him while it's playing that ultimately was the music video,
Hmm.
right? That montage of him driving around, leading, Apollonia to, Lake Minnetonka that wasn't. But that montage, they he got a phone call and said they asked Prince, the, editor and director, "Do you have any music for this?" And he said, "I do not." The next morning, he had 2 options for them, and one of them was "When Doves Cry." So, yeah, everything was in the movie and, supported a beat somewhere other than "When Doves Cry," and when that was just to support that montage.
Yeah, and I know when Doves Cry. That is my go-to karaoke song, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I cannot
Dig, if you
wait to
will,
see
a picture. You don't have to wait, Marcus. Of you
No,
and
I'm
I
not gonna.
engaged in a kiss. All right, our video just got demonetized because it sounded so much like Prince.
That's right. That's
All
right.
right, hey Marcus, I am so grateful for you coming and chatting with me today about the possibilities of Purple Rain being a Broadway musical. And now I think you've given me hope because if a fan
Oh, I
like you is certainly aware of the failings of the film and
mhm.
maybe how it should be tweaked, I'm sure these we could keep fingers crossed that the creatives involved are as well.
And I can't wait to see it. I can't one way or the other, I can't wait to see it.
Very good. All right. Hey, we will talk to you next time on 1980s Now.